Hey guys, it's Ant-Man here. I'm coming at you with another video recap. In this recap, I will be discussing my trade in TTD from Friday. This is a video that I do want to get up here. I don't want to let too many days pass, since I do feel there is a couple of nuggets in this video that could be useful to some of you out there. I want to go over what I was thinking, what I saw on the chart, how I formulated my trade plan. So without further ado, let's get into this. That prior evening, that Thursday the 8th of November, there were some companies that I was focused on that were releasing earnings. Amongst those companies were TTD, Yelp, and ATVI. All three of these companies, Thursday after hours, released their earnings, and all three of them shit the bed. I mean, hard. We're talking 10, 15, 20 point dumps on their earnings releases. It looked like pure panic. It was just straight red for the first few minutes of the release. Wasn't pretty unless you're short bias like I am, and then it looks beautiful. But in any event, I started to sift through the earnings data for these three stocks. I started to evaluate the charts on all three, and as I progressed in my research, I started to feel more and more strongly that TTD was going to be my main watch Friday morning. And here is one of the main reasons why. As I was doing my earnings research, I came across this article here. Trade Desk, as you can see, the date here is November 8th. That was the day of the release. Trade Desk down 13% despite stellar growth, raised guidance. I'm not going to read each bullet point here. You guys can certainly pause the video and read them on your own. But just to summarize, you can see here, after a Q3 earnings report with nothing but positivity, the company beat top and bottom, revenues grew 50%, customer retention over 95%. That's huge. Just positivity everywhere. So I went back and I researched TTD's prior two earnings. This one here back in May, and this one here back in August. And as you can see, there was a huge gap up, followed by a huge green day the next day, and then this thing kind of just ramped and climbed slowly up. The earnings report in August, huge gap up, huge first green day, and then the thing started to progress. So logic would dictate that on really, really positive earnings, this should be the outcome. A repeat of these two prior earnings. However, as you saw, we had that huge dump. What we had on TTD the day of the earnings release was this: 122 to a low of 101. So we're talking about a 21 point sell-off after a hugely positive earnings release. So going back to the daily chart, I started to really dissect this chart and see what the hell's going on. There was no news I could find, and the couple articles that I could find all basically said the same thing: hugely positive earnings, yet TTD dumped really hard, was the gist of the articles I could find. So I started really taking this chart apart, and from my analysis, I couldn't find too many longs that would have been trapped in this to force that kind of panic sell. If they were trapped shorts, it would have squeezed. So the only thing that made sense to me was maybe the longs in from here, this day, this day, this day, and this day, were taking profit. That's the only thing I could think of, which also doesn't make too much sense, because if you're in long and this thing blows out earnings, you'd want to hold at least till the morning to catch the gap up. But instead, this thing did the opposite. So it could have been a little bit of panic selling, a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of both. That's the most logical thing that I could see why this happened. So that being said, that gave me a very strong conviction in my theory that this was going to be a beautiful setup long for the following morning. I even posted, for those of you guys that are in Trick Trades, I posted in chat about 1 in the morning on Thursday late into Friday morning that TTD looks like it's setting up for an excellent bounce play. Just keep an eye on it. So I don't know if any of you guys actually saw that or caught the play, but you know it was a pretty spot on idea that I had for this one here. Let's go back here to the 1 minute intraday, and I will discuss what I saw in the pre-market. Just pull this over. Okay, here we are. So as I pointed out, you can see there was this huge dump. It ended up actually catching support right here at the 50% Fibonacci level, and then kind of just chopped sideways most of the remaining after-hour session into the following morning. And it started to kind of slightly trend up, but the one thing I did notice, which was very, very key, was it started to form this trend in the after-hour session right here, and it tested it here, almost tested it here. So this trend was looking to be more and more valid, and as it projected towards the open, it looked like a very prime area. This or the 106.58 from the daily chart for a support bounce. This Fibonacci level here, I didn't think it was getting back that far down to 101. Although this would have made a beautiful double bottom, I just didn't think there was going to be too much desire to buy in at the bell. I didn't think this would be able to come down this far to test this level again. So, with that said, as you can see here, it did, break the trend, but it immediately got held up right here at the 106.58 level and continued to move toward sideways into the bell. I was going to watch for it to come into a key support zone, namely either this trend line here or, as I said, the 106.58. I was also going to keep an eye on this 111.90s, 111.85 area, which was a level from the pre-market, and I was going to be very curious to see what it did at this level and at this level. If this thing kind of ramped into this one, we'll call it 112, and started to show some weakness, I would definitely be switching biases on this and might be looking for a retest and a fail to go short. But that was only if this level here started to show some resistance at this area right here. So as you can see here, just to get off on a slight tangent, I am using eSignal. For those of you that have seen my other videos, I was using TC2000, and I still actually have my subscription to TC2000. I have used eSignal in the past, and I actually did really like it a lot. The only downside to eSignal is the cost. It's not a cheap platform, but sometimes the old adage is true that you do get what you pay for. This is an absolutely wonderful, robust, professional charting platform with so many features, so many different abilities. And this is not an ad for eSignal. I'm just giving my little spiel about it. And the one thing that eSignal does have is the ability to look at a sub 1 minute time frame. And as much fun as we've made of the 15-second chart, and those of you that are in chat know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm going to illustrate here how I used the 15-second chart on TTD to enter this trade at a key level and not guess where I'm going to enter, not chase the move. it was something that, like I said, I used it a lot in the past when I was chasing penny stock momentum and I was scalping moves. The 15-second slash 1 minute slash 5 minute was my main chart setup. You know, the 5 minute was my quote unquote long time frame because I was, like I said, I was scalping, you know, 10 cents here, 20 cents there, chasing penny momentum. So for me, the 15-second chart was essential. But some of these moves didn't last too long, and you know, you had to get in and literally get right out, take your 30 cents with your 5,000 shares. And those of you who have been there know exactly what I mean. But anyway, moving on. You know, the reason why I decided to switch to a 15-second time frame is because I have traded TTD in the past, and I know how it can move. This thing can grow legs. It can move in chunks. Not to mention, it's a stock that's over $100, and top of my head, the float is about 32 million. So we have a high-priced, low-float stock, which, if not treated with the respect it deserves, can really burn your ass. So I decided to dial into a more detailed time frame to see if I can get a better view of the price action and get a better entry. So let me pull up the 15-second chart. If you bear with me one moment. Here's the 15-second chart from that morning on TTD and what I saw and how it really helped me in this particular trade. Just bear with me, guys, here as I pull this up. Okay. Now here on the 15-second chart, what does it look like we have here? What I'm seeing right here is an ascending triangle, or a pennant, or a bull flag, or whatever, you know, you want to call this formation right here. So what I saw, when I saw this forming, this was just another piece of the puzzle that said to me, this is going to work. This is going to be an excellent long play. And what I ended up doing was, if I zoom this in a little more, I can show you. I ended up getting long right here. Nope, sorry. On this candle right here. If you can see, this is a hammer candle that held support after multiple tests. I understand it's only a 15-second time frame, but you know, this is a clear setup for a bullish run. So it bounced here, and then on this hammer that bounced off the trend and off the VWAP. I got long right here. And this thing, as you can see, it just took one more candle and then boom, volume came in and this thing took off. And what I ended up doing, I ended up covering, I believe, half my position into this 115.50, which was also the 38 fib. And then as it came into the daily 100 SMA, I covered the rest of my shares here. I wasn't taking any chances because I know that after this thing ran up as much as it did, it could easily pull back the entire distance. It ended up actually just pulling back, holding this 115 level, which was also the 38 fib, held it, tested it multiple times, and continued on its next leg up. This entire move here was something like 111, like a 12-point move, of which I caught, I think, 8 points. I think my best sell was $7.80 a share. And what is this doing? Anyway, I'm not sure what this is doing. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, the chart here. You know, it ended up filling the gap, the entire gap, on Friday. You know, as I thought it would. I didn't honestly think it would fill on Friday. Maybe a combination of Friday and Monday as well. But it filled the entire gap. And it would have made, like I just pointed out, a beautiful, beautiful all-morning hold. Here was the morning. This would have been a beautiful, even if you covered 3/4 into this pop. This thing never broke on the VWAP, and this is on a 5-minute chart. So you could have covered a majority of your position here and just let the rest of it work. This would have been a phenomenal trade. Nevertheless, I can't complain about this. When I was done, after I pulled up my P&L, I was quite thrilled and shocked to see a 4-figure profit on this. Very, very happy on this trade. I only took 200 shares. And my risk on this was only about $180, which was about 90 cents a share. And as I pointed out, my best sell was $7.80 a share. So that works out to an 8.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. More so than just the P&L. At the end of the day, I'm very, very happy with the way I formulated my trade plan on this, and to some degree my trade execution. But I'm not so happy that I left, more than half the move on the table. But it's not an overnight process. Everyone that's in this and that's learning the proper way knows that this is not an overnight process, and these things can and will come with time. So if you guys would want to know more about, where I learned how to analyze these charts and how I learned how to formulate these trade plans, come visit tricktrades.com. I'll put a link in the description below. So if you have a minute, click the link, look it over, read the testimonials. They're all true, guys. They're all true. There's no BS in here. There's no BS tolerated in this room. Everything here is 100% true. So just give it a look, and if you like it, maybe we'll see you there. And that's all I got for now. So ciao, guys.